trigger warning for kidnapping, suicide, murder, attempted suicide, injury, homophobia, and plain old bullying.
It's called smut. Give me smut and nothing but a dirty novel I can't shut if it's uncut.
I also have a pet peeve about, which probably has revealed itself already over the course of the podcast, but dumb names.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
If every time I'm reading, like you said that earlier.
You're not going to like the names in this book
Well,
today.
you sent me one of them and you were like, every time I read it, I read it as lasagna. And I was like, that is 100% what I would do as well.
The
like,
kingdom is named
Lasagna.
Lasagna. It's like Lasania.
Oh,
Lasagna, but I keep
Lasagna.
saying lasagna.
Yeah, I do lasagna every time.
And that can be sometimes distracting enough for me that I will stop. I will just stop reading
absolutely.
it. And sometimes that happens to me when I'm reading a good fantasy book because I genuinely have no idea how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
But that's
Right.
better to me than, their name is Checkerboard. Cool.
Well, I find when I get to those big fantasy names, I'm sure everybody does this, but I just like gloss over it and then just have my own shorthand in my head of like, I know that I recognize the shape of that name, and in my head I'm just gonna whatever it is.
You'll know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Every once in a while I do stop and like actually read it out. I'm like, oh, that's got way more syllables than I was giving it.
I mean, it was like the name Hermione until I heard it pronounced.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
So
until the movies.
I'd be like, that's the girl.
Hermione?
Hermione.
Hermione. I mean, even in ACOTAR, Feyre,
Yeah.
like, it was
Which
Fair.
I called Farah.
I called her Fair the entire time in my head that I was reading it. And then I heard the audiobook and it was like, Feyre. And it ruined
and
it.
I know
ruined it
it's
for me.
literally written Fea, like Faye and then Ra, but I was like, no, it's
There's
Farah.
no way. There's no way.
As I was reading, I'm like, Farrah Fawcett.
The
Dunzo.
RE is silent shortly.
Fair.
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 I don't know what that was. It just escaped my body. I'm so sorry.
Hey, speaking of a silent RE, welcome to Fence Reading Film.
I'm Jess.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Will.
Oh, that was sexy.
That was very sexy.
Thanks. That's the theme for
Congratulations.
today. I'm a sexy high school bully.
The theme is always sexy, but today's actual theme is bully.
So what are we talking about, Emily?
Bullies, my favorite trope. Meow, 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 meow.
One of my least favorites, which I feel like happens to us a lot.
And one of my most ambivalent.
Yeah.
Wait, has there been one that you love and I hate?
I mean, reverse harem was definitely one that you had reservations about.
That's true. And I still am not crazy about them,
Yeah,
but I respect
think
them.
that was the one. But there have been more that I think I just have stronger opinions about this than maybe.
There are a few that I have.
Because you didn't like knife play either, right?
No, I liked knife play.
You're the one that doesn't. One of you doesn't like.
I don't
knife
like.
play.
I don't like
knife
knife play in real life. In books, I'm okay with it. It depends on what kind it is.
I like knife play.
Were either of you bullied in high school?
Not so much in high. I mean, a little bit because everyone's
now. Is
high
someone bullying
schoolers.
you now?
Yeah,
Who
you
is?
are.
I will. No, I do it with love because I
No,
love you.
I know. I'm teasing.
I would never
No.
actually bully someone unless they really deserved it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was bullied by it was a very girl thing. I was bullied by my best friend Jamie.
Wow.
Shout out to Jamie. Hi, Jamie.
Yep.
Classic.
Can I tell this story? I think I can tell this story because I've told this story to
do
a million
whatever we
people.
want.
Sorry, Jamie, but it's one of my favorite stories to tell.
Now, fuck you, Jamie. You
Yeah.
bullied my friends.
I love you, Jamie.
You'll see Jamie at my wedding.
Oh,
as
great. And
my
I'll tell her
matron
to
of
her
honor.
face. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah,
I'll steer you
It was
away.
like
He
very
doesn't
much
mean
like
it.
a Mean Girls thing where she and I like were frenemies
Right.
until high school basically, and it was middle school. And I had a little notebook because I didn't pay attention to classes because I didn't need to because they were all really easy for me in middle school.
Oh, brag about it.
I know.
Brag.
I had transferred from like a higher learning whatever, and I had a little notebook and I would write. It was like my diary / I wrote like short stories and I was writing constantly all the time. And when you went to the bathroom in this middle school, there was like a ledge where everyone put their books,
Oh, no.
and I put all my books there. And I came out and my journal was missing. And I went to my next class, and she was standing in front of our science class reading my
That's so
journal.
mean. That is so mean.
Yes,
It's
and
like,
I like
oh my god,
grabbed it and cried and was so sad and like went through the rest of the day just like holding it because it was like the middle of the day.
Yeah.
And then
Fuck.
I got home And my mom was like, what happened? And she called Jamie's mom.
Yes.
And Jamie's mom Jamie showed up at our front porch crying, reading a typed out apology note that I still have in a scrapbook somewhere.
I love that you kept
I am
it.
so sorry for everything that I have done. I really apologize. And it's like, it was a turning point in our relationship.
Aww.
But yeah, I absolutely kept it.
Did you
Yeah,
become
for
friends
sure.
like after that? Right after that?
We had been calling each other friends for a while.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
But that was when the worst of the bullying stopped. Like, that's when we actually
Good.
started being nice to each other.
That's great.
Like, I think we
That's
learned
vicious.
lessons.
That's
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah, it was tough.
I can't believe
And
that.
I've never been able
She's
to
so
write
sweet.
since.
Yeah, that's
So-
some like fully from a like preteen movie.
Yeah, yeah,
shit.
yeah. When
Like,
people are like, where does your stage fright come from? Like, why don't you ever do anything like that? I'm like, here's the trauma.
yeah.
And we
I
found
can point to
we
the exact
found
thing.
the happy medium, which is podcast, because
No
no one has to
look
look
at
at us.
me in real time while we
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah,
Woo!
yeah. I just like looking like a trash monster usually, so like I
Yeah.
like doing a podcast because no one has to see
And that's
me.
why you were bullied in high school.
I don't believe I was.
You would know.
Wow.
You would probably
Way
know.
to immediately hedge the bet because you weren't confident that it didn't happen. You're just like, I wasn't aware of it.
I like to make fun of Emily because Emily has for the longest time insisted that she was not popular in high school.
Right.
But every story she tells of like going to parties and hanging
Yeah.
out
I
with
didn't
people,
go to parties.
and she's always like, "Oh yeah,
Okay.
this person that I was best friends with in high school." I'm like, "You were popular.
Yeah.
you were one of the popular
I
girls."
just didn't think I was.
Sure, yeah,
I
I
just
get
like
that.
knew people, but I didn't think I was popular. But I will say it was like I still have a very big group of girlfriends from high school. There's 10 of us. We go on a trip every year. I love them very much. But like growing up with them, like there's always gonna be like bouts of anger and like bitchiness. So like there would definitely be times where like, you know, so and so would say something mean, or they would like think everyone would laugh, and I'm very good at making fun of myself, but I can only do it so much until I'm like, okay, I'm hitting my wall. And so then I'd like turn to my friend and be like, I can't talk to so and so for like a day, and I need you to keep me away from it. One time I slapped someone.
Wow.
8th grade Emily was hardcore. I do feel bad about that. That was physical violence is not the way until it is.
This is reminding
Yeah.
me of when I threatened to break somebody's arm on behalf of my little sister because they were bullying her.
Yeah.
And I saw her throw my little sister's lunch in the trash because we had the same lunch period. And I walked
That'll do
over
it.
and I told her, I know where you fucking live and I will come there and I will break your arm.
Amazing.
And she
Ooh.
cried and she didn't fucking do anything to my sister ever again.
Oh, I
Good.
love you
So-
so much.
It worked.
Yeah.
But I guess I was a little bit of a bully. I was a protective bully in that moment.
Sure.
I could
look,
see that. I could see
Yeah.
that. I would be
I
a
was-
protective bully as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I was definitely.
I've done
came
that
to my little sister
before.
because I was a senior and she was a freshman.
Like I've
so-
taken a person down a peg or two. Like we're all drinking or something, and I'd be like, "Oh, it's fun that you decided to wear that." But like, it's only if they were like a bitch to my friend. I'm a very loyal friend.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm an
yeah.
incredibly loyal friend. So, am I right or am I right? Come on.
I know. I understand where you're coming from. It's also just through the lens of your popularity. It's just
Right.
funny.
Speaking of bullies,
Well, were you bullied in high school?
Not in high school. No, I was in like elementary school, and
Yeah.
then like in middle school, I hit puberty and kind of got like middle school hot. You know what I mean? Like I had the Justin Bieber like swoopy hair.
Oh, you
would
did?
and I was a little player, like runner. Seventh
I
grade.
really want to see a picture.
I
of
dated
this.
like 8 people. I feel like it was a
you-
mess.
If you feel comfortable, I would love to share a picture of an 8th grade,
Yeah, oh,
7th
sure,
grade
yeah,
Will's
yeah,
for
haircut.
sure.
Absolutely.
We can all share pictures of our 8th gradeness because if we feel comfortable.
I've got some good from some
people-
good ones from band camp.
I look
probably.
like I shopped at Hot Topic.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can see what Emily looked like when she slapped someone in 8th grade.
Great.
I hope my mom doesn't listen to this podcast.
I went through a skating phase. I just showed my coworkers this, so I have it like ready to go.
Is it because you watched Rocket Power? Because
I'm
that's
not-
why I tried to go through.
I
a skating
did
phase.
watch Rocket Power. No, it was because I had friends that were like in high school because
That
we went
little
to the same
Justin
church and they
Bieber
were into
swirl.
skating. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be really cool and skate with my friends.
Skateboard.
No, yeah, and then by high school, I just kind of like my high school was big enough that I found my
found
own
your
like
people.
people, and then
Yeah.
it was like I don't give a fuck about other people. I'm doing my own thing, and
Yeah.
people in my group liked me, so I was like, yeah, great,
Nice.
sick.
Yeah, we had a similar, like, we had the gifted and talented program, which was just us
Yeah.
nerds.
Yeah,
But
oh, yeah.
they all had just those classes. So
Sure.
it was about 30 people that I was spending almost all of my time with, like most of middle school and high school.
Yeah.
And so like that's also why I'm like, I probably was, maybe I was popular, but I think I was popular amongst the 30 to 35 people that I saw a lot.
That's
Sure,
how I
yeah.
feel. That's how I feel. Like I just
Yeah.
knew people, but yeah.
But Emily, what? Okay.
I texted my friends to text me a picture of my 8th grade boyfriend because you look slightly like him. There are some similarities. I was very into a skater boy.
Listen,
Great.
every 8th grade boy looks exactly the same.
Yeah,
Yes,
Like-
that's
That's
well.
true.
They're
Especially at that
Well,
age.
no, but
the
you know what I
skatery
mean.
of
like,
that generation and of that persuasion. Yes, they did. There's others that were like preppy. They played
Sure,
football.
yeah.
Yeah,
you're not
the
wrong.
They played
skatery
Pee-wee
types.
football.
But so okay, so we
Bully
covered
trope.
bully trope. I don't like the bully trope.
I do.
I think because I was thinking about this while I was trying to find my fic, because I don't really know why I don't like it that much, because it has a lot of the elements that I like to read. Like it has there. I think it's good for enemies to lovers, which I like to read.
Oh, yeah.
It's good for like standing up for yourself and becoming, a better, newer person, which I love, like a journey, like a transformation. It has all those things. I think for me, the reason I don't like it as much is it can get like the fanfics that I read can get too dark or too traumatic.
Yeah.
And I also think, and this is fully just, I didn't do any science about this. This is just my gut.
Sure, yeah.
The people that are writing, and I think I said something similar about one of the other things, but the people writing fanfic
Yeah.
come from probably a very specific side of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And their shit tends to be very real.
Yeah.
Which is why one of my trigger warnings is attempted suicide. Like they
Yeah.
get very dark and very depressing. And I've not read like a fun romp of a bully story yet.
Right.
And sometimes I just can't. I want a fun romp. I don't want to explore like mental health as a high
Right.
schooler.
Well, when I read, I know it's not going to be fun when I read it. It's more like I like the dark aspects of it, and I like I like the ones that fully lean into this is a teen drama.
Okay.
Because
Sure.
that is what I'm reading. I'm reading Riverdale in a book form. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Got
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Okay.
I looked it up. Just a run-of-the-mill General Mills description.
Yeah.
A bully trope is usually an enemies to lovers that takes place in an academic setting.
Okay.
And the trope that is most often combined with is reverse harem. Fun fact.
Interesting.
I feel like you've read a lot of bully fanfics, not a lot of bully books.
I've not read a lot of bully fanfics though. I mean, I've read fanfics with bullying in them. Like most of Dramione as a pairing, Draco
That's
Malfoy.
Right,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
a bully.
That
thing.
is a bully
Yeah.
thing.
For sure, because Draco's a bully.
Because Draco's
Yeah.
a bully, but that is not. I feel like for it to be a bully fic or a bully story,
Yeah.
that has to be the central thing that you're focusing on to bring them together. And in the Dramione fics, that's happening, but usually there's something else going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
That actually ultimately like brings them together. Like he's bullying her, sure, but also he's a werewolf or like something
Sure,
else.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I get that.
And then the bullying changes as they get to know each other because of this other thing. It's not like it's not a key element. It's just table stakes.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I will say I looked up because I knew you didn't like it.
Uh-huh.
So I looked up why people like bully tropes.
Ooh.
That was a whole Reddit thread.
Really?
And I wanted to see people's answers
Yeah.
because I kind of know my own, but a lot of these I agree with. But just some of them were that people like the power dynamic.
Yep.
Sure.
People like the idea of the bully, not the bowler, the person getting
Sorry.
bullied.
The victim?
There it is, the victim.
The victim.
I feel like I shouldn't say victim though, because they do always end up together. There's usually a happy ending in a bully story.
But I mean,
well,
Yeah.
happy ending.
Yeah.
It's the thing of I am special because that person is focused on me. Like
Yeah.
that is a
Okay.
thought process that happens in a lot of them.
Sure.
The wanting the opposite of real life or escapism, which
Mm-hmm.
is like a big reason why I read a lot of the craziest shit because it's just I don't want it to happen. it's completely opposite of me, and I'm just interested in it. Like, I'm just like,
Right.
well, let's see how this goes.
In the book, the bully falls in love with you and stops bullying.
It's usually
in real life they
keep going.
Their
Or like, I don't
parents'
want to
real
fall.
estate.
Like,
So
there's
you-
if I was to ever be put in these positions, I'd be like, no, I don't want to fall in love with the person who is making my life hell.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like in the mafia romances, that's always the one I say the most of, like, that's such an escapism, because I'm like, I don't want to fall in love with anyone in the mafia. But if you're single and cute, let me know. And like,
We've been over this.
Shit. And then the last one is like the buildup of angst, and then the decline of like the grovel and redemption. So it's like so many emotions in one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of that is why people, including myself, like to read them. I'll also add again that it's just such a teen drama-y type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could argue that a lot of enemies to lovers that take place like in an office setting or something could still be a bully romance. It's just not categorized as such.
Yeah.
But like, you know, the two coworkers that are fighting and the one who gets coffee spill all over her blouse and then her bra is see-through all day, like, that's a humiliation bully tactic.
Yeah.
And that's technically a bully, you know? So,
Yeah.
so it's like, it's interesting.
But that would be a workplace enemies to lovers.
But also, so if
Which
you
I
just
love
changed,
reading.
exactly.
I love reading.
But if you just change the setting of it, it could
Yeah.
easily be in
Yeah.
an academic bully.
I think the difference between those, if we're drawing a line between those, is one is adults and one is not.
True,
Yeah.
true.
And I can't help but put myself in it.
Oh yeah, I don't
in
do
that
a placement.
case.
For
Yeah,
me.
and be like, oh, I can't. These are children. I can't do this.
I will also
Yeah.
say the ones that I prefer to read and have gone back to read again and again, they have been written as such that it's like they're all 18 or like they're all
they
so
make sure to
they're
say
all
it.
so
They're all
mature because they're
seniors.
so rich
Yeah.
that they've been adults since practically 13. Really, you know what I mean? So it's like
Okay.
they make
Yeah,
such.
right.
But and I
Because
know
everybody
that's
knows
not,
rich people are much more healthily adjusted.
Oh, in these very
teenagers.
dark tales they are.
Yeah.
But like, so I understand what they're trying to do, but they need the setting to get them together.
Yeah.
So I kind of
Yeah.
am just like, brush it away and we'll keep reading. So
Sure, I mean, you've got to have a certain amount of like suspension of disbelief. And
Yes,
just like,
for
okay,
sure.
I'm going to allow this to happen so that I can engage with the story.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts and expectations? What were you hoping for?
I love a good redemption arc. So
Yeah.
like, and enemies to lovers for sure
Yeah.
is definitely what I want. And like, I don't know, maybe maybe this is just because it's most of the like bully romance arcs I've seen
Okay.
in the like narratives that I consume, but I feel like a lot of times there's a queer element to it of like projecting, and like the bully's like, I can't admit to my feelings, and I'm like, that's great. I mean, not great, but you know,
that's
you know what I
something you
mean?
would
Like,
like to
yeah,
read.
oh yeah, for sure. Like
Yeah.
that's part of the fun is like,
Yeah.
I'm confused, and so I'm gonna take out my feelings through aggression is the only way I know how to express them.
Right.
I feel like you want them to dance out their feelings a la Footloose. Like, oh, punch dance.
Ironically enough, I really don't like Footloose.
So do you want to get into it?
But yeah, I think Jessica's going to grace us with her fanfic.
All right.
Because I have a lot to talk about.
All right. So, first of all, I had quite the journey, as I always feel like I do. And I read a couple of bully romances, and I try not to let my bias get in my way, but I also was like, I'm not going to have fun talking about these. Like,
Yeah.
and a lot of them were fandoms that I've already done. A lot of them were Kylo Ren and Rey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there were a lot of those, and I was just like, this isn't doing it for me. And also, the tag on Ao3 is bullying, and so a lot of them like had an element of bullying, but again,
It's not the whole story.
It wasn't what I would have interpreted as a bully romance.
Sure.
So what I did is I searched movies that I knew had a bullying element in them.
Oh, okay.
And we are exploring the Mean Girls fandom today.
Oh
Sick.
my god. This
Wow.
makes so much sense though.
I will say this is my well, I guess we're counting the Mercedes one. This is my second fic without sex in it.
Oh, okay.
There is not as much of a smutty element, but I liked it so much that's what we're fucking talking about.
Interesting.
Are you crossing off a raccoon and trash
minus
can?
no smut.
Point.
I know. So we are talking about Painkiller by Commander of Raccoons.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
It's a great username. It's a
Yeah.
really good username.
Really pandering. To you two
to us.
specifically.
They published this in January of 2019.
So they knew.
So they knew well in advance of when we knew. It is 8,687 words. It's one chapter. And it is Janice, Ian, and Regina George.
Okay,
this makes so much sense.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm very excited because I've been trying to find a woman-on-woman pairing for several episodes now. And there just aren't as many of them in my experience.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to, it's usually either straight or two men.
That feels surprising to me just because of like the history of like women on women relationships, like sapphic relationships. I feel like, escapism to literature would be.
Yeah. I don't know what it is specifically about
Weird.
fan fiction, but I think that like one of the OG ones was like Kirk and Spock. And then we've got Sherlock and John.
So it stayed
and
in
so
the
for whatever reason, people tend to write male on male pairings when they're writing queer relationships. And maybe, I mean, I could be biased. It could just be the fandoms that I tend to be in.
Right.
But even just like looking for fics for the podcast,
Sure.
I come across women pairings much less frequently than other types. So I was really happy when I landed on this.
Yeah.
So some Mean Girls stats. There are 455 total fics, and 80 of them are explicit or mature. Regina and Janice.
And you couldn't find
And you didn't
one.
pick one of the 80?
Well, this one is rated mature.
Okay.
Or no, it's rated explicit, but it's because of the other elements of it.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay.
So mature or explicit does not necessarily mean smutty. It can also just be like somebody tries to kill themselves. So I'm gonna rate that as mature. Yeah. So yeah, Regina and Janice are the most popular pairing. There are 143 fics of them, followed by Katie
Katie.
and Janice at 75. And yeah, and then the other thing that I picked out specifically for Emily is I also found and considered, I found 3 Mean Girls Heathers crossover fics.
I love Heather.
But those were basically just like Regina and Heather hanging out and being awful to people. There was like very little actual anything. Or just, that was the other thing, is there were several explicit fics, and I have one that I wrote down that I'm going to add to the link tree that is literally just Janice and Regina banging. And there were a lot of ones that were like that where where there's no story at all.
Yeah.
We are just fucking. And I found a lot of those, but there was nothing for me to talk about.
Got it.
So if anybody wants to read smut, listener, the fic will be on the link tree, so you can read them having sex with each other, and it's very hot. It's great.
What's that? It's sex without story. Is that the tag? What's
PWP.
PWP.
Pupe. Porn without plot.
Porn without plot.
Yeah.
Sex without story. Close.
Sex without story. SWS. So can I get I need a little synopsis. I need a Mean Girls. I need a summary of Mean Girls. I need to know specifically about Janice and Regina.
Regina George is the popular girl.
Yeah.
She's a part of the Mean Girls.
The Plastics.
The Plastics, thank you. I was like, the Pinks? That's not right. On Wednesday, they wear pink.
On Wednesday, they wear
Plastics.
pink.
Grease is the pink ladies.
Her mom's a cool mom that would rather everybody drinks in the house. And she kind of runs the school until Katie shows up.
Played by Lindsay Lohan.
Played by Lindsay Lohan. Moved from Africa to wherever the fuck Mean Girls happen.
Chicago. It's Skokie.
Is it
I think
Chicago?
it's Skokie or Evanston.
Yeah, it's Illinois.
Actually, I feel like
somewhere.
it's supposed to be like Schaumburg. They say Old Orchard Mall, and it's clearly not Old Orchard Mall. And all of my friends, we saw that in theaters, and we were offended that they call it that, because it was clearly more like a Northbrook court, but it doesn't matter. We're going past it.
Great. Well, so Regina, classic popular girl,
Yeah.
with the blonde hair and the nails and sunglasses and the cool mom that lets her drink. And then Janice Ian is the opposite of that. She's the freak. She's the like dyed hair and goth and punk and hangs out with her one gay best friend. And
Damien.
Yeah, Damien.
And she's the art kid.
She's the art kid.
artsy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you actually see them smoking supporting lead in the movie, but she's a big ol' stoner.
Yeah. You can just feel
yeah,
it.
Yeah. You can almost smell it every
Yeah.
time that she comes on
Yeah.
screen. No, yeah. I think is that enough? Is there more that I need to...
Do you remember how Regina and Janice were related to each other?
They were like best friends at one point,
Yeah.
and then in like middle school, and then Regina like did something really mean to her.
She didn't invite her to like the pool party because she didn't want a lesbian to be at the pool party.
Right.
And she spread the rumor. She
That
was
she was
like,
a
she was a
lesbian.
lesbian. And then
And they used the D
school-
word. They used a derogatory term for a lesbian.
Yep. Yeah. And so Janice, like, I think it's like she left school and then she came back and she looked like that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of her origin story. But yeah, it's heavily implied in the movie that they were like childhood friends or something along those lines. Okay, so yeah, that is what we need to know going into this. All right, so
clearly Regina's mom did not force her to type out an apology letter
No.
and read it to
Regina's
Janice.
mom was
This
not
could've
as
ended
classy
so differently.
as Sherry Devlin. So some tags of note: we have angst, we have rating is for trigger, and then we have soulmates AU. Do we need? Do we? Well, actually, do you want me to tell you what a soulmates AU is, or do you want to go through the fic and then I can explain further?
I mean, I kind of want to guess, and then don't tell me, and we'll read through the fic, and
Okay.
we'll see how close I.
We'll get into it after this.
Okay,
I
okay.
will do a little brief soulmates
Make a note.
translation.
Soulmates.
So it starts in 2013 when Janice and Regina are kids and they're playing together on the playground. And this is mostly from Regina's perspective. So they're in 8th grade and like Regina kind of notices that she gets injured a lot. Like she gets banged up. She'll notice bruises on her body that she doesn't know where they came from. And she kind of starts to put it together as she gets older. She hears her mom talking about soulmates and talking about these people that exist in the world who are connected to you. And if they're your soulmate, then you share pain. You share physical things. So if something happens to you, your
Like
soulmate,
twins.
a little bit, but like
Okay.
literally your soulmate feels the effects of that. So if you fall down and you break your arm, your soulmate will feel pain in their arm. And so she kind of is like, ooh, I maybe, I don't know, this might happen. And then what happens is what happens in the movie where they're friends, and then Regina is like, well, I don't want to hang out with her, she might be a lesbian. But in this fic, she is in fact a lesbian.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, exactly. And so Regina is like bullying Janice. It's getting worse and worse and worse. That happens. And every time she bullies Janice, she feels like a phantom like sickness in her stomach. Like she doesn't feel physically good. And
She's bullying herself.
well, yeah, she's like, oh, this might, but she's also in denial, right? She's trying to
Sure,
deny that her soulmate could be a woman.
Yeah.
She's trying to deny that her soulmate could be her best friend. And so she's just like, well, it's fine. But she notices that physically she can tell that it really affects Janice when she's bullied. And then it gets even worse after the pool party and after the like the way that the fic says it is like her outing Janice to the entire school.
Oof.
And now Regina is noticing that Janice is now not just getting bullied by her, she's getting bullied by the entire school because they're all homophobic little motherfuckers.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
And so, you know, this keeps happening and Regina keeps feeling this like emotional pain. And at this point, she fully is like, okay, cool, we're soulmates. I'm still very much ignoring this. I do not want to deal with this.
Hard denial.
I am busy building my popular empire and like hanging out with these other more cool girls. This is not happening. But then after a few days after their pool party fight, and she's feeling constantly nauseous, just constantly bad. She hasn't seen Janice since the fight. And then she suddenly feels nothing at all. And she's like, okay, this is weird. But she's like going about her day. And then she feels a deep pain in her left arm and up her left wrist. And it keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And she's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what this is. And she just kind of continues to deny and keeps powering through her day she's extra mean to everyone, and everyone notices
Right.
that something's going on, and she's like, I can't fucking tell them that it's because my arm is burning and I don't know what to do about it, so I'm just gonna keep bullying these people. So we get a montage of like Regina bullying random people and making them cry.
But there's nothing,
Nice.
like, you can't see anything on the arm.
It's not a physical mark.
Okay.
It's
just something she can feel and knows.
she can feel it.
Got it.
Yeah, she can feel it. And she, like, originally when she was young, she thought that it was just like, we're playing, I have bruises, whatever. But now that you're not like roughhousing as a kid,
Right.
you notice if you have some random phantom pain, and that's what's happening
Boy,
here.
That's why I still roughhouse these days.
Yeah.
Never stop.
Get through it.
Can't-
Ignore
Can't
it.
stop, won't stop.
And so she thinks like, oh, I made that girl cry. It still didn't help.
I
usually that
totally
gives
get that.
me usually that gives me the release I need. I'm still feeling like shit, and I'm still angry and ugh. And so she gets in the car. Her mom's picking her up from school. She gets in the car and she's like holding her wrist. And her mom asks if she hurt herself, and she says, I didn't know, and then just stops talking. And her mom looks at her like she wants to say something, but she's a cool mom, so she doesn't.
Right, yeah.
And she's driving
No,
home.
carpal tunnel
No,
is
that's fine. Like,
What was that?
That was her mom being not
But
the
what was
cool-
that accent?
You know, carpal tunnel is... I don't know.
all uncool moms sound like that.
yeah,
Didn't you know
everybody-
that?
Just that
It's
accent
an-
was
my
not
old
something I was
man.
expecting.
Carpal tunnel.
Carpal tunnel.
You
is-
need to get a wrist brace.
make
You
sure
gotta
you're
watch what
stretching.
you're writing
You need
there,
to make sure
missy.
your elbows are at a
Shake it
45-degree
out.
angle.
Shake it out. Okay, so she doesn't say anything, but then they're still driving, and she does the mom thing where it's quiet for a while, and she goes, so I haven't seen Rachel, Janice's mom, in the pickup line for a few days. Is Janice sick? I think I'm gonna call her mom. You know, we haven't Rachel and I haven't caught up in a while.
Right.
And it's like heavily implied that that's how Janice and Regina were friends in the first place. Like their moms
were friends.
were friends in college.
Yeah, sure.
And so
Friends?
friends.
College
Friends.
friends.
Heavily implied, maybe more than that, I don't know.
Sapphic friends.
Could be in college.
They wrote together.
It's a generational thing.
It's a generational thing. And so it's, Regina's up in her room. The pain is still there, but it's starting to get better. But she was feeling like a lot of stomach pain. So she didn't eat dinner. That's starting to feel better. So she's like, I'm going to sneak downstairs, get something to eat. And she hears her mom sounding very worried on the phone. And she's like, Rachel, like, slow down, like, stop. What are you talking about? And she's like, what do you mean? Like, don't call you again. Like, what's going on? Please tell me what's happening.
My husband knows about us.
Damn.
I
Took a
wish
turn.
that's what it was.
It's my headcanon.
Regina is like panicked because she's like, oh shit, like her mom knows, my mom now knows that I've been bullying Janice. And her mom just kind of like hangs up and looks really sad, and Regina's like, oh shit, did I just ruin one of my mom's only friendships? And and then Regina's mom looks upset, and she sees her kind of hovering and is like, can you check in with Janice? Like, I don't know what's going on, but her mom seems really upset. And Regina's just like a shitty teenager, so she's just relieved that she wasn't caught out. She's like, sure, I'll check in with Janice, with absolutely no intention of checking in with her.
Right, yeah.
So then years and years later, it's like Mean Girls timeline now.
Okay.
Wow.
That was like a couple
Time skip.
Yeah, like 2 years or whatever it was.
I think it takes place junior year, and I think
that was like
it was
freshman
like eighth
year.
grade. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was like
Okay.
8th grade freshman
Alright.
year. So Regina's walking down the hall with plastics. She's just glaring at everyone. Everyone is trying to get out of her eye line. She sees Janice, who she has been actively avoiding ever since the bullying.
Right.
She doesn't want to deal with it
the whole time
the
skip.
whole time. And Janice
It's a good
is-
run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's really, bullies I think tend to be pretty good at self-denial and not dealing with things. That's why the bullying
Right,
happens.
right.
Yeah, I
I
could see
mean,
that.
you just full on projection. Just constantly.
And so Janice gets pushed up against a locker, and
My mind went there too, like sexy. No, it's not sexy.
no.
No.
Not in this story.
Yeah.
Regina stumbles because she feels the pain in her back of getting pushed against a locker, and she hears Gretchen say something mean to Janice, and it's just like, shut the fuck up, Gretchen.
Right.
And then later on, it's from the movie where Janice gives that speech in the gym against Regina, and she gets carried out.
Because I have a big lesbian crush on you. Suck on that.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And
I
then,
remember exactly what she said.
And Regina, because it's so good.
Yeah.
And then Regina she runs out and is arguing with Katie, and then she gets hit by a bus.
Yeah.
And Regina gets hit by a bus, and Janice falls to the ground. And Regina wakes up in the hospital, and her mom is next to her, and her mom is like, oh, honey, this is what happened. Rachel came by and actually brought flowers, and Regina sees Janice's mom standing there, and she's like, is Janice here too? And her mom's like, yeah, we don't know what happened, but Janice seems to be in a lot of pain, but no one knows what's going on. And Regina realizes that like she's been getting morphine and things because everyone knows she got hit by a bus.
Right.
Janice hasn't been getting any of that shit.
Right.
Because no one knows what's going on. And so she's horrified. And she just says, soulmate shares pain. And then, and both moms like look at each other, and
Are the moms soulmates too?
they share a long look. They share a long look.
It's headcanon now. They're soulmates.
It was
my
college was a
headcanon while I
long
was
time
reading it.
ago.
Yeah, they both like
I
look at each
love
other.
the idea of just in front of your mom and her best friend / lesbian lover just being like, soulmates share pain.
Yeah. And then they both are like, well, so actually I didn't say it, but earlier, so when you're kind of like getting the download on like the moms,
Right.
Or when Regina is learning about soulmates, there's a line where she says she realized that her mom and her dad weren't soulmates because if they were, her dad wouldn't hit her mom so much because he would feel it too.
Damn, all right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Just
This
a-
is one of the lighter bullying
Nice little
fics I could
smattering
find.
of domestic abuse. in
Mine
there.
is more
Yeah.
fun. I think mine's more fun.
So anyway, they're confirmed soulmates.
So they're
Rachel
confirmed soulmates.
and
Rachel runs out of the
Miss
room, is
George.
like, "Oh shit! Now we know I need to get my
Yeah.
daughter pain medicine." She feels like she got hit by a bus. That's what's happening. Regina wakes up the
A
next
little
day.
fucked up that she doesn't also feel the morphine too.
No,
I would be
yeah.
pissed if like
Yeah.
I've got this soulmate bond and I can only feel the pain and
It's
not
just
the good
the
stuff.
pain. So she wakes up the next day. Janice is sitting next to her hospital bed, and she says, "I get released tomorrow. We should probably talk about some things before then, shouldn't we?" And and Regina says, "I didn't know we were soulmates when I outed you. Just so you know, like I suspected, but I didn't know for sure, and I feel horrible about it." And Janice kind of like flinches and says, like, "I really don't give a shit about your guilt. You've made my time here living hell.
Yes.
You had the power to start it. You could have stopped it, and you didn't. And that's also, now that I'm thinking about it, super masochistic of you because you felt everything that everyone was doing to me." And so was that just like your way of fucking punishing yourself?
Yeah.
And Regina's like, "Yeah, probably. Yeah. I'm really sorry." And Janice says, "I don't forgive you, actually."
Good.
And
Yes, Janice.
yeah, Janice is like, "Cool. I'm glad this might be a turning point for you. I don't forgive you."
Yeah.
And Regina says, "I promise," she says, "getting hit by a bus was a little bit of a wake-up call for me, and I'm going to try to be better, but I'm going to try to prove myself to you," is essentially what she says.
Okay.
And then she says, "Can I ask," right after the pool party incident,
What was the arm pain?
what was the arm pain? And she like grabs Janice's wrist, and she's got a scar
Yeah.
on her wrist. And Janice was like, I felt horrible. I was being horribly bullied. I regretted it immediately. I called my mom, and she called 911. And that's why I was out of school, because I was in a rehab in a hospital, and I was trying to get better. And that's why I do art now. And like, I'm better now, but it was a moment of weakness for me. And Regina's like, I suspected, but I wouldn't let myself like think about it. Like, I'm so sorry. And Janice says, "Mom and Damien are the only people that know about that. Please don't tell anybody about that." And she says, "Thank you for telling me. Like, thank you for letting me know and for trusting me." And Janice says, "I don't know how long you'll be here, but maybe I'll come back and visit because our moms are friends again and they like want to hang out or something."
That's
Yeah,
such a high
again,
school
now.
thing.
It's such a,
maybe our
our
mom's
moms
like
are hanging
it,
out, so I guess
whatever.
we'll fucking hang
Fine.
out. And so after they both got out of the hospital, Regina starts trying to be friends again and prove herself, to the point where she asks Janice if they want to like if she wants to like go to the spring fling dance together, like as friends, just as friends,
because our moms are friends too.
Because our moms are friends.
Yeah, just like our mom, just like Sappho and her friend.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun. So it's like in the movie with Janice with that purple suit, and then Regina and her back brace with the thing, with the halo. Just
the flowers
together at the thing. And after a while, Janice takes her shoes off because like she's like, your fucking heels hurt. And I'm like, I'm taking my shoes off to try to help me with mine. And Regina goes, well, I don't want you to be in pain. And so, but she's like, she can't take the heels off on her own because she's got a back brace on. And so Janice helps her take her shoes off so that they don't cause pain for each other.
I just was like, why are her shoes hurting her? The whole story,
Emily. The entire story.
I got it.
Remember that like soulmate thing? The like central conceit of this
the whole
fanfic.
thing. So we keep going. Regina is being her version of nice to everyone. She's still kind of bitchy, but like she's nice to Janice, so it gets better. And they're just getting closer and closer. And Regina decides that they're taking it slow. But Regina's like, well, on New Year's Eve, maybe that'll be our first kiss. Maybe I'll plan out a little romantic thing for a first kiss on New Year's Eve.
Oh, this is her to herself. I thought she was talking to Janice.
And so they're at a New Year's party, and she leads Regina out onto a balcony. Or she leads Janice out into a balcony with like lights and flowers overlooking the backyard. Mm-hmm. And then they do the most gay thing ever, which I've done several times, where Regina was like, I was waiting for you to be ready to take this to the next level. And Janice goes, I was waiting for you to be ready to take this to the next level. And they were like, but I was waiting for you to consent. She was like, I was waiting for you to consent. But basically, Janice is like, so we could have been like doing stuff a lot sooner. We both were just out consenting each other. And she's like, yeah, we were
consenting each other.
Okay, except that that's the opposite of consent because you didn't communicate.
They didn't communicate. So fireworks happen and it's midnight and they have their first kiss and it's so romantic and beautiful. Nice. And as they kiss, Regina realizes that they can share joy too, because she feels Janice's happiness.
That's cute.
And joy. And that's where it ends.
Does that mean she hasn't been happy since 8th grade? She's never felt her happiness?
Correct. Or at the very least, she hasn't noticed it.
I feel like it's one of those things where like, until you admit to each other
what it is,
until you acknowledge the bond, it doesn't work to its fullest extent.
Yeah.
You don't get the second tier, which is good feeling.
And that's a very common part of the trope, is like acknowledging the bond deepens the bond.
Of the soulmate AU.
Correct.
So also first, what is a soulmate's AU? You have to give us the definition now.
So a soulmate's AU is, I mean, you got it right. It is a universe in which soulmates exist, and typically it is the world is structured in some way around the fact that soulmates exist. It is an accepted part of being romantic, of relationships. Most of the time when I read it, it's not like the one that I just talked about where it's pain sharing. Mm-hmm. It's like a soulmate mark. And so it's something along those lines, and then usually it's accompanied by some kind of a like physical connection or mental connection where you can like read each other's thoughts. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it's like, oh, when I'm turned on, I can feel how you're turned on, and it makes us come more. Like there's a lot of those.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, but it's mainly just it's an alternate universe in which soulmates exist, and then it's from there a very fun like playground for fan fiction writers, and it's very adjacent to fated mates, which is kind of,
I love a fated mate story.
Yeah, more of a monster, like a creature fic type thing, but like more like animalistic mates type thing, but very similar. Soulmate AU though is like humans version of that a lot of the time.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right.
And so it ends on their first very romantic, very sweet kiss.
That's cute.
That is cute.
And if you want smut, I will put History by Grim Lupine on the thing where Janice gets eaten out on Regina's bed. And so my it's not really a game, but my question to wrap it all up is, in this world of this fic, would you want that type of soulmate?
I mean, here's my thing with like any kind of soulmate fic. When you have like tangible proof of soulmate, it's like, yeah, that sounds great. I don't have to think about it or like spend a whole bunch of time figuring shit out. I can go, oh wait, when I stab you, I feel it. Cool, we're meant to be together.
Yeah, there we go. We're done.
Absolutely.
But I have, I don't know. I have like a lot of questions because I'm difficult. So, like, does soulmate in this world? So, like, if you die, do they die, or is it just you feel it?
I think in this world it would be you would feel it.
Okay,
And
you
then
wouldn't
a part
die
of
though.
you would feel dead for the rest
A part
of
of
your
you would
life.
feel dead.
Much like when in this world when you're
Much like my everyday life already.
And in theory, like, you could never find your soulmate. You could just be getting phantom pains your whole life.
which would suck. But do you also? Does soulmate mean romantic partner in this world?
Oh, like are there platonic soulmates?
Yeah, because I am fully of the belief that you could find a soulmate, just a platonic friend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's probably about 50-50. Like, half of them is like you acknowledge the bond and you are immediately romantically like tied to each other, and it is very much romantic.
Yeah.
Like, but then a lot of the others follow like kind of the ACOTAR mates thing, where it's
Yeah.
like you can have a true mate or a destined person, but that does not mean you're compatible with that.
I would say no then, because I like the freedom of what if my soulmate in this world happens to be someone who lives in Taiwan, and then I never go over there, or they never come here, and we never run into each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and so why would I want to feel that longing and emptiness? And I'm trying, and I'm trying every day. I'm on the apps, and like, you know what I mean? Like, that's really sad to me. So I would like that if I was able to find them and like it clicks.
Yeah.
That's great. But what if I fall in love with the great guy here already, and I
Yeah.
never meet my soulmate? You know what I mean?
And then
like,
your soulmate like breaks their leg, and you're like, fuck.
well, fuck, now I got a pain in my leg.
Get that.
But yeah, so I'm difficult. I'm going to say no. So Jess, what about you?
I think I mean, if the answer is I don't want this type of soulmate to exist, the answer is I do not want this. I don't want to live in this world where this type of soulmate exists. But if I do live in this world, I would like to have a soulmate. If that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
I get that.
I wouldn't want to live in this world because of all the things you listed.
Yeah.
That would suck. But if I had to, I would want to have a soulmate and at least have a chance of finding them.
Okay, then
Yeah.
let me take it that way then. If I'm in that world, if that specific world, then yes, I would like to have a soulmate. I don't want to be alone forever. I just
Right.
wanna,
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. That's the Mean Girls fic.
Did you
Nice.
like it?
I liked this one.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was definitely them being ladies helped. And honestly, the fact that there was not they didn't force smut, that it was more about like the exploration of their relationship.
Oh, that
I
makes
get
me
that.
happy that you liked it. Because it's just like
I found the type, so I guess I
You
need
have
to
to find
read.
the
I need
type
to
you
read
like.
only lesbian.
Yeah.
much like
Bullies.
sports ones. You need to read the gay sports ones or LGBTQ. I should say
It's got to be in some way LGBTQ,
yeah,
or else I don't want it.
I think that's a great segue for you to get into these.
Yeah.
Okay, so as it's been established, love the bully trope.
Yeah.
Big
What,
fan of
you?
it. I'm so excited.
No.
Because this is a book, this is actually one of my favorite books.
Oh,
one of my
great.
favorite Kindle Unlimiteds that I have
wow.
read and reread over and over again. It is the first of a trilogy. So I will be telling you the entirety because it does end on a cliffhanger.
Great.
And this is something that I would love if Jessica liked it, because this is like the thing.
But
that-
no pressure.
Was
no
this,
pressure.
is
like,
this
it's-
one of the ones that was on the list for the
Yes.
Valentine's Day episode?
Yes.
Okay.
It was something I would have loved you to read because I think you would like it, but
Okay.
I think you would have to get past like some of the bully things that you don't like. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But it's like that thing of when
Do
you
you
like
think Will
something.
will like it?
I don't know, and I don't
We're gonna
care.
find out. Wow.
I don't care because it's my fucking episode.
Yeah, Emily's like, this is self-indulgent.
This is the most. I think you might like it though. I think this kind of hits
Okay.
the things you would associate with a bully romance.
All right. I'm here with an open mind.
Yeah. In past episodes, Jessica has said pick a number between 1 and 4, and I've picked, and that's been the thing that you've read, I assume, right? Mm-hmm. So I had that same thing. I had 5. And I read a full one, and I said, this isn't bully enough. And so I reread this one, and I was like, here we go. But I want to say there's other contenders that I have were the Golden Boys series, which we read Mr. Silver on the fake dating episode. That was a spinoff of Golden Boys. Zodiac Academy as a bully one. The Royal Elite series by Rena Kent. Anything by Rena Kent is usually a bully thing. The Riot House series by Callie Hart, which is another thing that I almost made you read, but you would actually hate that one. The After series, which I do hate, but I have to mention it because it's very popular.
That's the one based on One Direction fanfic,
yes.
right? Yeah.
And the Sinners of Saint series by LJ Shen. Vicious by LJ Shen is one of the top, most voted bully books.
Yeah.
There is.
I like LJ Shen.
I really like LJ Shen too. The one I'm reading today is Dirty Wicked Prince by Eden O'Neill. And Eden O'Neill also writes, she is very much like LJ Shen or Rena Kent, where she is very in the bully trope thing. That's her thing.
That's her niche.
That's her niche. Thank you. Her niece. And
she bullies her niece and then writes about it.
Dirty Wicked Prince is a dual POV. It is 369 pages. 69? It came out February 28th, 2021. So this is actually a spin-off series of another bully series by Eden O'Neill. And this is the kids from that first series.
Oh.
All the people in the first series grew up, had kids, and now this is their generation at the same school.
Wow, lots of generational fics.
There is, I know. And all of the ones I said are all 3 or more books, and all of them have spin-offs and a lot of history in them.
You got to break the cycle, the cycle of trauma between generations.
And so in these 369 pages, there is a lot, 69. There is a lot of history, and there are some references to the before series, but I read this first rather than the before series, and I was able, I understand what it is. They say what it is.
I sometimes like that too when there's a bit of an assumption.
Yes.
Don't spell everything out for me.
But they let you in on it. They're like, so-and-so's dad. And so if you've read the first series, you're like, oh, I know exactly who that is.
Right.
So they'll make little references like that, and then as this trilogy goes on, you learn more about the previous series.
Well, that's fun.
That's cool.
And so that's how I read it. I read this trilogy first and then went back, and I prefer this one more because it's a lot more dramatic and teen drama.
Got it.
And that's how I would categorize it.
Cool.
I will also say a lot of the ones, with the exception of After maybe and maybe Riot House, the women, it's usually a man or male identifying bullying a female identifying character.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will say I think I like these the most because the female ones tend to be, they fight back a lot, or they're they don't take shit lying down. And I think that is the niche that I have found within the bullying trope that I like.
Okay.
Yeah.
So main character is Sloane. And her actual name is Noah Sloane. She goes by Sloane.
Okay.
And her brother Bruno. Dorian, Wolf, Thatcher, and Wells are also 4 men that you're going to meet.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just saying all their names now. So
no, I know. Yeah.
Do you know a Thatcher?
No,
do you
but
know a
just
Wolf?
a person named Wolf.
His real name is Aries, if that helps.
No,
that makes it worse.
His nickname is Wolf.
Okay.
He's Egyptian.
Oh, sure, yeah. I feel like Aries is usually pretty typically cat coded,
don't
but
be racist.
it's fine.
So
how's that racist?
It starts with Sloane driving her car. She hears a scream as she's driving. She pulls over. She pulls out her bat that she keeps in the trunk of her car and an air horn and stops what looks to be a mugging. There is a woman in running clothes being cornered by a guy in all black with a mask and a hood. She scares the guy off. She blows the air horn and is like, get the fuck away from her, blah, blah, blah. We find out that the lady is Elaine Mayberry, who is the headmaster of the new school, which is the, I don't write the school down, but it's Winchester Heights or something like that.
Yeah,
and,
that sounds right.
Fine.
And Sloane and her brother Brew, she calls her Brew, but Bruno is the full name, just moved to Maywood Heights, which is about 2 hours away from Chicago. So they moved from inner city to a nice suburb. As Sloan drives back to the new home, which happens to be a mansion, it's like a modern glass mansion.
Okay.
We learn that they just moved there because her father just passed away, and that they were the custody of Bruno, because she's 18, Bruno's still 17, was given to this guy named Callum Montgomery, who turns out to be the guardian. It's a family friend that they only just met at the dad's funeral.
Wow.
It turns out the dad used to work for him, and he's a very rich guy. He does
yeah, listen to that name.
Yeah, Callum Montgomery.
You can't be poor and have that name. That's just...
Yes.
Callum
Mr. Montgomery does business all over the world, so he basically bought this house.
Full
They're
Southern.
Georgian now.
Mr. Montgomery.
Maybe-
No, Callum Montgomery.
Sorry, I guess it's a suburb of Chicago, so Callum Montgomery.
Callum Montgomery.
Callum Montgomery.
Hey, Callum Montgomery.
So Callum's pretty rich, and he
Yeah.
buys this house, and
Got
the kids
it.
live there. Callum does not live there. He's
He
traveling
just buys
the world.
a mansion for the
Yes.
children.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
because
Fine.
she's 18, he's 17, they could basically take care of themselves, but he's going to come back every few weeks just to check on them, make sure. But he has business dealings around the world. He can't
Yeah.
be possibly staying in Maywood Heights.
If any listener out there wants to be my Callum Montgomery,
Yeah, if you want to be my Mr. Daddy Montgomery.
Also, both of our stories in the suburbs of Chicago.
Oh my God, it's so.
Look at that.
that's where bullies are made.
That's where bullies are made. The
I mean,
North Shore.
Breakfast Club.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Every John Hughes movie.
Oh shit, you're right.
Just saying.
Yep.
So-
I never got bullied in Arkansas.
Arkansas is a totally safe place.
Not until I moved up here for college.
I
It
didn't-
was just constant.
I didn't get bullied in the suburbs of Chicago. I'm from Glenview.
Yeah, well, you were popular. You were
I
doing the bullying.
May have
you,
accidentally
Will.
bullied one or two people, which I don't. Anyways, doesn't matter. So on the drive back, we learned that this is not the first time Sloan has had to fight someone, hence why she keeps a bat in her car. She's very cautious in accepting all the wealth that Callum is bestowing on them, but we learned that Brew really wants it because he doesn't want to be the poor kid anymore. They've always had to move from house to house in the inner city. Their dad had some mental health issues and just didn't really take care of them very well. So Sloan really loves her brother and wants to make this year count for him. So she ends up ironing his uniform the night before because she wants him to have a really special first day.
Oh, that's
And the next morning, as they're going to school, a new Audi is delivered to the house.
Oh.
They already have a blue Chevelle. Sloan is immediately like, we cannot accept this. This is so much. And Callum calls and is like, hubby got the car. Hope you like it. And Bruno's like, stop being a bitch. Let's just accept the car, blah, blah, blah. So
Don't look a gift car in the grill.
don't look a gift car in the trunk. So they end up taking the old car because Sloan's still not comfortable with it, but they pull into the school and she ends up taking someone's spot. She pulls in without seeing that there's a sign that says Student of the Month.
First mistake.
And as she's getting out, this humongous Hummer with a painting of a gorilla,
Oh my god.
which is the school's mascot.
Okay,
Which is
all right.
The school's mascot. It's like a hand painted thing on the hood of the car. It's clearly this guy's an artist. Huge
Oh.
man gets out of this car and is like, "Hey, bitch, move!" And she's like, "What did you just say to me?" She goes for her bat. Bruno's like, "Stop! This is the first day of school. Please don't do this."
Right for the bat. Respect.
Yeah.
And this guy is at least 6'5", really big, dark, curly hair. And as they're fighting, she hears this laughter and she looks over and there's 3 guys that are hanging out at a car that's across the drive area in the parking lot where the car goes.
The aisle?
Yes. So they're in the other side of the aisle.
man.
She sees that one is really big, thick and muscular with dark hair.
Yeah.
One is very slender with like Khaleesi blonde hair.
Are they soon to have books written about them?
And one is a muscular golden-haired man.
Okay.
And he's smoking pot. So she realizes
My guy.
So she realizes it's the Student of the Month. Sloan almost gets into it with this guy who seems to be named Wolf, but Brew ends up moving the car and is really mad at her for embarrassing him. They report straight to the headmaster's office because it's their first day.
Right.
And this campus...
Is Wolf our main guy?
No.
Okay.
And this campus is so big, there are separate buildings because this is such a big, rich school that they
Yeah.
drive around in a golf cart. And the headmaster personally gives them a tour because she knows that it's Sloan who saved her. And so she's like, Sloan is my girl now, da-da-da-da.
Fair.
After the tour, we meet Bo Reed. Her full name is Rainbow, who is a sophomore. And she's super smart and is Sloane's student guide. We then, since this is a dual POV, we switched to Dorian. Dorian is the one who had the golden hair who was smoking the joint, aka your guy.
Your guy.
Dorian is pissed about the new girl. We don't really know why. We learned that Wells, the one with the Khaleesi blonde hair, was the one in the mask who was trying to mug the principal the night before.
Oh,
Damn.
shit.
And we now learn that Sloane also has the free period in which she is the principal's assistant. So Dorian is like, this is 2 strikes against the new girl. She's fucked everything up. We don't know what everything is yet. We just know that.
Okay.
We learn more about them as people. We know that all the 4 boys, their parents were friends. They're basically the kings of the school.
Okay.
And they looked up Sloane. They know that she came from an inner city. She fought a lot, and they confront her on during like gym class, and they almost fight. We learn that they're referred to as legacy because their families were also legacy. Like, this is like the term that they use. So
Okay.
if I say legacy, that means the 4
Right.
boys,
Got
which
it.
is
Got
again
it.
Thatcher, Wells,
Wolf.
and Dorian.
Yeah.
So that's legacy.
They are Legion.
And they
Legacy.
belong to a club, which is kind of a country club called the Court, which is like off of it. It's like the whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, they have tennis courts.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have
go
tennis
hang
courts.
out on.
So then we get a flashback of Dorian at age 10. We meet Charlie, which is his uncle, but Charlie's only like 2 years older than him. And Charlie's parents, which is Dorian's mother's parents, died. And so Charlie now comes to live with them. And we learn that they grow closer. That's it.
Got it.
The present day, Dorian is working out because he can't sleep. We learn that he's a vegan. I don't know why I included that. That doesn't matter.
Smokes pot. Is vegan.
I mean,
Yeah, super hot, super muscular, super vegan. We learned that Legacy cannot get access to a van again, and he smokes pot.
was Dorian the pot guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
My guy is Dorian, also
Your guy,
vegan.
Vegan also.
all right.
Yeah. Less your guy now?
The vegan doesn't mind me as much as his name being Dorian.
Yeah.
They call him D.
That's
if
worse.
that helps.
That's
Yeah,
worse.
no, that doesn't
All right,
actually.
Dorian it
That's
is. We learn just that like, they don't like the principal. We don't exactly know why, but we do learn a snippet that she does do coke, and she's a major cokehead.
Oh,
Okay.
all
Good
right.
for her. Yeah.
Good for her. No, bad. We don't like. That's bad. Going back to Sloane and Bruno. Bruno starts hanging out with Legacy. He wants to try out for football, which he's never done before. They are existing, but Sloane and Legacy are butting heads every day because Legacy's still pissed at her for getting in the way. Sloane is swimming laps in gym class. She's the last one in the pool because she sucks at it. And Legacy decides to corner her in the pool. 2 of them jump in, get her out, and they leave her alone with Dorian, who has a bat. He pins her against the wall and starts... He like has the bat around her neck, like against the wall, brings the bat down between her legs, and she tries to headbutt him, and then he dodges it as he's giving her an ultimatum to leave the school and she doesn't know why. She has no idea what she's done. He's not letting on. And he gives her the ultimatum to leave or be a ghost, which leads to number 1, which I call Batter Up, in which he uses a bat to get her off
Oh, like
through a swimming
like
suit.
the labyrinth thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yes,
the
yes,
scepter.
like the
Yeah,
labyrinth
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But also, you know, how you go from threatening to someone to getting them off.
He
Yeah.
definitely finds her attractive. She finds him attractive. They kind of both know it, but they're both like, fuck you. And it's like it's like a tension
And then
thing.
she-
Okay, that can be
comes.
hot, though. That
Yeah.
Actually,
listen.
he leaves her hanging a little. He gives her blue balls, but he's very much like shaken. He's like, oh my God, like that wasn't the plan.
I
And she
didn't
was
mean
like,
to do that.
she was like, well, that was great. And so she doesn't leave, and the whole school starts calling her Vapor, as in ghost. Legacy gets people to throw paper at her. A mountain of sanitary napkins falls out of her locker at one point. Someone dunks her gym clothes in the toilet. Somebody
Jeez, all right.
somebody stuffs her backpack with dildos, which is not funny, but it's funny to me. And they're
Well,
all
does she get to keep the dildos?
Yes.
Because that shit's expensive.
yeah, she got.
That's a
Well,
gift.
they're all remote controlled, so they all start going off when she's in class, and she's
that's
like, "What the
funny.
hell?"
That is funny.
And she
That's
opens
funny.
her backpack, and they all spill out vibrating. Guys,
Honestly,
that's
That's great.
amazing.
Okay,
That's
good.
funny,
That's
and
good.
and that's
Right?
a gift.
So
That's
she,
Truly.
it's a great
That's
gift.
Also,
good
if
haul.
the sanitary napkins aren't used,
You never have to buy them again.
right?
And so
full locker full. All right.
She
Thanks, guys.
she ends up, after this last one happens, she confronts Dorian in the hallway, and she like drags him away because she's like, I'm gonna like beat the piss out of this guy, and he ends up pinning her to a locker in a sexy way.
There we go.
And she says she's not leaving, and he starts kind of like physically teasing her again, but he's very much like, what am I doing? Like, this is stupid. But he likes it. And then he says, you know what, before you leave, like, we're going to bang. Like, we're definitely going to bang. And she's like, never. And he's like, clearly that's not, like, we're going to fuck. And it's going to be hard.
Love this.
And she's like, no. And then, like, they both part
Hell yeah.
ways. So Sloane knows that Bo, Rainbow Reed, is the sister of Thatcher Reed, who is one of Legacy.
Uh-huh.
And she asks Bo to tutor her because she's super smart. They're in the same math class. She wants to get close to her and get dirt on Legacy and use against the boys, and she learns more about the parents. Dorian likes Brew. They have football practice, and after practice, they're all getting ready, and his mom, somebody's like, your mom is here, Dorian. She's like, what? And he goes out. His mom is like freaking out on the football field, and she is screaming at him. She's like, this was delivered to my office today. Pulls out a pregnancy test, a positive pregnancy test. With a note that says, like, ask your son about this. And the mom's like, I don't care what you... And he's like, no, Mom, I swear, like, I always use condoms, da-da-da-da.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
That's
This
good.
is why I love this book. And she's like, we're going to talk about this at home. And he's like, oh, my God. Like, his parents aren't... None of these parents are abusive, but they're very stern and,
Yeah.
like, kind of scary. And he's like, my dad's going to kill me. And as his mom leaves, he's, like, freaking out on the field. And he hears, like, a slow clap. And Sloane is sitting in the football bleachers being like, sucks when someone's ruining your life, doesn't it? And so he's like, what? And so he runs at her, pins her to the bleachers, and they're like kind of talking, kind of angry. They hate kiss, they rub bits, and then this leads to number 2, which I call Don't Talk With Your Mouth Full, in which...
What could it be?
What's in her mouth?
Sometimes when I forget what... I haven't looked at these notes in a while, so it makes me laugh. I'm sorry. They hate kiss, rub bits, and she blows him. He's
That
like...
was what was in her mouth?
His
I
penis was in her mouth.
think.
He's like, oh my God, that was amazing, but lies to her face and is like, I've had better. And she's like, that was really hot. And then they like don't talk.
Got it.
We get a flashback for Dorian at 16 years old. He's at a party at the local college and finds Charlie fucking Principal Mayberry.
Oh.
Charlie says that the coach, aka Principal Mayberry's husband,
Remind me who Charlie is?
his uncle,
Okay.
that moved in with them at 10.
Got it.
We find out that the coach, which is Principal's husband, hits her, and
God.
and so he's like, well, so we're both consenting adults. She's gonna leave her husband because he's abusive, and we're in love. So don't tell anyone. And Dorian's like, okay, I guess. And so like we leave it at that.
Okay.
Then Legacy, back in the modern day, Legacy goes to the ballet. They all have to dress up, and anytime they go to the ballet, it's all the dads and all the boys, and it means one of them really fucked up, and it's a punishment.
It's a punishment
It's
ballet.
a punishment
That's
that they have to
funny.
sit through a ballet, and it says they go as a reminder to be better men, something about male dancers treating women in a softer way, respectable, in like a respectable, soft way. So it's about respecting women, is why they go.
All right.
Sure.
I don't fully get it, but I just think
Sure.
it's so funny that they're like, fuck, we're at the ballet, something bad happened.
Yeah,
Someone
no, I do love
fucked
that.
up.
I do love that.
So they all find out what
Who did it?
happened.
Yeah.
They all find out that like
Swan
Sloane
Lake.
fucked with the mom and all that stuff, and Sloane is in Dorian's head. And at the end of that chapter, we learn he's like, I wish I could talk to Charlie about it, but he's dead.
Okay, the plot thickens.
So attitudes between the two get worse. Bo gets really mad because she realized Sloane used her to learn about Dorian's mom. Brew starts playing football. Sloane goes to one of his games, but she doesn't want to like impose because he's
Yeah.
like in with Legacy now. And after the game, she sees Brew getting chased by 2 guys who ended up getting cut from the team in the parking lot. And it's like revenge on her brother because I guess her brother got Brew on the team by getting these 2 off.
Oh.
So they're about to like hurt Bo, and she grabs her trusty bat,
Hell yeah.
defends Bo. Legacy shows up, and the bad guys run off. As a thank you, the next day, Thatcher, her older brother, brings her to Jax's, which is like the local McDonald's,
Gotcha.
for lunch as a thank you. And she ends up sitting with Legacy or some of the people from Legacy, mostly Thatcher and Wells, at lunch for like the next couple of weeks. And it's kind of like at a truce with them.
Right.
Aries, aka Wolf, and D, aka Dorian, are not really there. It's usually just Thatcher and Wells, and they're kind of like on good terms.
Okay.
All right.
Then she trips one day in the hallway. She sees a piece of metal down under the lockers. She's trying to get it when Wolf is like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, no one's in the middle of this hallway. You're just lying on the ground. He kind of tries to offer her an olive branch. She's like, listen, like, we got off to a wrong foot. Like, I just want to, like, you know, invite you to this party that I'm having. She's like, okay, I'll go. And she's like, by the way, it's a lingerie party. And so she's
But
like,
you already
"All right."
said you'd come, so now you have to.
Yep.
Well,
That's how it works.
he's like, you don't have to dress up if you don't want to. And she's like, okay, cool, thanks. So the first line of the next chapter is, that fucker legally blonded me. She shows up in a trench coat. She takes it off, and she's just in lacy boy shorts and like a black
That's
bra
what I was thinking.
with a mask. And as she takes off, she looks around. No one else is wearing lingerie. Brew and Bo come up to her, and they're like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm going to kill him. So she ends up taking off her coat and struts through the party.
She legally blonded him back.
She legally
Yeah,
blonded him back. She struts through the party, going to the back room where Legacy is hanging out, where they're all smoking J's and drinking Fodies. And
What?
they're just drinking.
You
and
lost
smoking.
it right in the middle.
I know. I'm so sorry. She shows up. Aries. I'm gonna alternate between calling him Aries and Wolf. I'm sorry, but I'll try and just stick with Aries for now.
You
I'm
can
gonna be
say
honest.
whatever you want. Neither are better than the other.
There are so
but
many
I don't want to
names
confuse you. I know. I'm
already.
really trying to like make it as easy.
You're doing
No,
great.
you're doing great.
There's really like 7 is what you need to like know.
Got
Yeah.
it.
So just remember 7 of them.
You're doing great. I've got the 2 main ones.
Thank you.
So.
Yeah.
Aries laughs, but Dorian gets pissed off. He like fireman holds Sloane, walks through the party to his room, which is this is all in Aries' house.
Okay.
And they're like best friends. They live across the street from each other. And Dorian has his own room at Aries' mansion, because they all live in mansions. And he kind of gives her some like clothes to wear, because he's like, no one should see what's mine. And she's like, huh? And then they fight, and he's mad that she made his mom cry, and they totally hate fuck in a fight for dominance, in which I call number 3, fuck the hate away. And
That's on science.
whilst it's happening, the term "you're mine" keeps happening,
Yep.
which they both kind of say to each other.
Classic.
And they fall asleep in each other's arms.
Aww.
She wakes up the next morning alone, looking for a bathroom, and overhears Dorian talking to Wells and Thatcher, the 2 younger ones, saying to cover for him with Aries while he goes upstate. That's all we heard. We also overheard the name Charlie. She has no idea who that is. And Aries catches her in the hallway, being like, what the fuck are you doing in the hallway? Why am I always catching you alone in a hallway? And as he walks past her, he accidentally scratches her thigh, drawing blood. She's like, huh? I know, and he's just like, oh, sorry, and like walks away.
Does
It's
he have like a long coke
Yeah.
nail?
like something in his
what's
pocket, like scratches her.
Okay.
Which
okay.
is important if you end up reading one of the next 2 books. So I'm just gonna put that out there.
Interesting. Okay.
It's a knife.
That's not a knife. Dorian finds her in the hallway, and he's like, you didn't see the bathroom and your uniform because it's a school night. In the room, like, I picked it up for you, like, da-da-da. And she's
cute.
like, wow, okay. And he kisses her, and so they're, like, pretty much together. We go back, one of the last flashbacks for Dorian. We learned that Charlie is coming home from college, visiting, and Dorian lets it slip that the coach and Principal Mayberry are still together.
Oh.
Later that night, Dorian comes home from playing some b-ball hoops with his boys.
Playing some b-ball outside of the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the police are at his house, and he learns that what a story is that Charlie was driving past the house, heard some screaming, went into the house, and got shot by the coach. And the coach saw what happened and then ended up shooting himself.
Whoa.
Oh, shit.
The coach thought he was an intruder while he was attacking Mayberry. We find out what really happened, which was that Charlie went to see Principal Mayberry because they were still fucking. And the coach comes in, didn't realize it was Charlie, saw his wife cheating on him, and killed him, and then killed himself.
Wow.
So,
Jeez.
but the parents don't know that. Just Dorian and the kids know that. So, back to after they kiss, Dorian, we're back in the present, left school for a few days and then came back.
Got it.
So it's present, he comes back. Sloane barely talked to him because she's like, I don't know what we're doing, but calls him and being like, hey, have you seen Bruno? Because I haven't seen him. I don't know where he is. I have like a tracker on my phone, and I know he hangs out with you guys, but he's in a thing called Murphy's Park. And Dorian's like, I'll be right there to help you look. It's just a big big park that you'll get lost in. While he's helping her look, they kind of have like a moment, and then they hear some screams, and they realize that Bruno is being hazed to swim across a lake, which is impossible to do. And it's also like dark outside.
Yeah.
Dorian runs into the lake, saves him, like brings him back to shore, gives him CPR. Bruno's fine. My guy. Gives him CPR. And Sloane is like, you're a monster. And he's like, I know. She's like, I know you did this. And Dorian's like, I had no idea about this at all. Sloane and Bruno leave. They go home. Dorian confronts the other 2 kids that were there that we don't know. And he's like, what the fuck? Hazing is like illegal. Like somebody died back in the day from hazing to get into the court. A la the first series.
One of you.
Yeah,
like that
there you
up.
And the kids are like, well, Aries told us to do it. So he goes. So
He's
Dorian
about to fight his boy.
Dorian
Aries,
goes
man.
and beats the shit out of Aries
Goddamn.
in the club at Clubhouse. And they get into a fight, and Aries is like, I forgot that I set that up. This is when we were still like hating them. I forgot that we like them now. And Dorian's like, I fucked up, man. Like, I fucked up so much. And Aries is like, what happened? So then we learned that Dorian's grandfather tried to contact him. We learned that the parents have no contact with this guy because he's a bad guy. He killed someone back in the day. He's like a really like high-powered business guy, bad business guy. Right. And we learned that he went to his grandfather to find Principal Mayberry because after the whole incident with Charlie, she left.
Oh.
And she is back this year being a principal. So we learned that the grandfather helped bring the principal back to school. And that's what we learned from that. So
and we don't know why.
And we don't know why yet. We're like we're almost at the end.
Okay.
Aries texts Sloane, some time passes. Aries texts Sloane asking her to help Dorian because he is like, hey, it was me that set that up. I'm really sorry. Like, I know you're never going to forgive me for that, but like, trust me, it wasn't Dorian. It was me. He's in a bad way right now. He's drunk, and he's not going to let any of us hang out with him, but I have a tracker on his phone. Will you go hang out with him? She's like, sure. He ends up being a few houses down. Drinking beer in a yard, in the yard of an abandoned house. And they have a heart-to-heart. She learns about Charlie and about what happened. She learns about Legacy's plans to kidnap Principal Mayberry and get her to confess the whole thing.
Damn.
That she covered it up, that Charlie wasn't like an intruder or anything like that.
Clear his name.
Clear his name. And she apologizes. Sloane apologizes for basically getting in the way all those times because she's like, yeah, that is fucked up. Like, Principal Mayberry's bad. So she ends up taking one of the empty beer bottles and throwing it at the house, which happens to be the house that Charlie died in.
Wow.
It's abandoned right now. So they start, they're doing fun kid things. They're vandalizing houses and they're kissing. And Dorian does it too, and it's very cathartic. And
he's like, you know what would really make me feel better? If we fuck where my uncle died.
Well, so they're only a few houses away. So they're like kissing and laughing. They hear sirens. They run back to Sloane's house, which leads to number 4, which I call just a couple of kids, where they have crazy kids. No, I don't want to say that. They have crazy, like, fun, like, we're free
grown
sex.
people sex.
I am so sorry, everyone. So sorry.
Teenagers living in a mansion alone.
That kind.
Yeah, and the quote from that one is like, I didn't want to just own her. I wanted to be owned by her. So the next morning, he stays the night. The next morning, Legacy has a chance with Mayberry. They kidnap her. They take her to an abandoned warehouse. They record her confessing to what actually happened to Charlie.
Damn.
Dorian
Shit
then
moves fast.
Dorian then goes to his parents' cabin, which is like an hour away, to lay low and wait out the craziness that has happened because they posted the video immediately and like classes were canceled for the day and shit like that.
Yeah.
So he tells Sloane where he is. They hang out for like an hour at the cabin, and as she's leaving to like go get her phone charger from her car, the cops show up and arrest Dorian for the murder of Principal Mayberry.
What?
He says, no, we just left her there. We don't know what happened. Sloane is supposed to call Aries to get him out of jail, but Callum Montgomery ends up calling instead, being like, hey, I'm back. Where are you? And she's like, I need your help. My friend just got put into jail. Then Sloane and her guardian, Callum, get Dorian out of jail, and Dorian freaks out because her guardian, Callum Montgomery, is actually his grandfather.
The businessman?
The businessman. And the last time he saw him, he thought he had killed him.
Dude!
Wow.
And that's the first book.
Wow.
There's a lot of twists and turns there.
Dirty
There
Wicked Prince. I
is.
tried to summarize that as quickly as I could because a
Damn.
lot happens in that.
Yeah.
It's
I
so,
see why you read the whole trilogy.
It's so fun because it's not fun, but it's just like it's crazy and it keeps getting crazier, and I
Yeah.
kind of love it.
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
yeah, for sure.
I couldn't even think of. I was like, I did some quotes. I don't want to do like a dramatic reading, and I know I do this one a lot, but I would love to know who you would cast as Sloane and who you would cast as Dorian. And we don't have to do any. Or you know what? And Callum Montgomery. We'll just do that one. So Sloane is super tall. She's like 5'10", 5'11", really long, dark, like thick, almost black hair, very tanned skin. He calls her kind of like an Amazonian goddess or like an Egyptian goddess, or like something like that, like a few times, Middle Eastern goddess, whatever. He is very muscular, like very tan, golden haired, plays football. He's like a little taller than her. He's probably like 6'3". And then I think Callum Montgomery walks with a cane. He has white hair. He like wears 3-piece suits, has glasses. So I'll let you guys. Oh, and I will say he also mentions a few times that Sloane has like a thick booty. She's got a booty.
Oh, okay.
She's a curvy girl.
So I'm fully, but I can't remember anyone's names ever.
It's okay.
The guy who plays Thor,
Oh, Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth.
Okay.
And the woman who is also in Thor and is the Valkyrie.
Tessa Thompson.
Tessa
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
That is who I am picturing as our main
Ooh,
couple.
okay.
And then Callum, I'm picturing the actor who played Mad Eye Moody in Harry Potter.
Brendan Gleeson.
Yes, Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah.
That's what I'm picturing. I'm
Okay.
picturing just like a shorter, older Irish man.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm picturing.
Interesting. I think, the opposite direction.
Ooh,
with that
okay.
one. I was thinking like a Mad Nicholson type
Ooh.
for Callum. Like the kind
Okay.
of like.
What about your main couple?
That one's harder for me. Also, just because I don't know people's names.
Neither do I.
I'm not up on a lot of teen actors and actresses. I feel like.
That's why I picked grown people for
Right,
mine, because that's the
exactly.
same thing.
But I'm like, if I'm the casting director, I'm like, give me unheard of talent. I don't want anybody we've seen before.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, when you're casting children, I'm like, yeah, they're give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Again, I would think of it as like they are like 26-year-olds playing this. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't think of children playing this at all.
That.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah.
Really, you just have found my like blind spot in culture, in which I don't know any actors' names, any actors or actresses. I'm like, I don't know. Okay, wait. Here we go. For Stoner Guy, he's in Queen's Gambit, and he plays the like bad boy of chess. He's been in a bunch of like other stuff.
Thomas Brody.
Yeah, that's him.
Thomas Brody Sangster.
Yeah.
He's got one of those really young faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think just because she's big right now, Jenna Ortega, I guess.
Okay, from Wednesday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, okay.
She's the it girl right now for
Yeah.
that like younger
young folk.
young adult actress.
Yeah. I have old version. Like I would want someone who looks like Priyanka Chopra,
Okay.
but I need someone like 15 years younger.
Ooh, I will. Okay.
But that's the style that I'm thinking of. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And then for the guy, I want someone with like kind of surfery blonde hair, but I would think like a really young, or not really young, but like I'm thinking like Brad Pitt and Troy, like with the longish
Sure,
kind of
yeah.
blonde hair. So like a younger version of him.
Okay,
And
all right, this is
then-
gonna be a deep cut. The blonde-haired guy from Community that plays
Yes.
Britta's boyfriend
I know
with the
exactly
small
who you're talking
nipples?
about.
Oh, yep.
Yes,
Hey,
in
hi,
the first
hello.
season,
Is it
Vaughn.
Yes,
Vaughn.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Yep,
That,
okay.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
want to take that. And then, who I pictured as Callum Montgomery was Claude Rains in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. This guy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also in Casablanca. He's like an old timey movie star
Yeah.
from like the 30s and 40s. So
Also fair.
yeah, you can look him. He looks like a distinguished old man. So that was Dirty Wicked Prince by Eden O'Neill.
Good job.
Yeah.
Do you feel good? Do you feel like a weight off your shoulders? So you're
A
finally
little
able to
bit.
talk about this one.
I was finally able to tell you about it. What were you it's okay if you didn't like it, but were you interested in it?
I was interested in it because of the mystery of it. Like the bullying aspect of it didn't really do much for me.
Yeah.
But I loved the enemies to lovers. I loved the sexual tension, and
Yeah.
I liked the like flashback mystery part.
I
of it.
think the bullying goes hand in hand, at least in this story, with the sexual tension.
Yes.
Like it's
Yeah.
always them getting in each other's faces. Like neither of them want to back down. So that like adds to it, as
For
in
sure.
Yeah.
a la bully romance.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's good.
So
Hell yeah.
What do you think? Well,
All right.
yeah,
Great.
give me your
Here
2
we
cents
go,
and then
here
give
we
us
go.
some ratings.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna do it in order because
Yes.
we I didn't really get to talk about yours either when we got to the end of it. All right. So one of the pluses for yours for me was definitely the like soft magic system. I love a good like soft magic system of like soulmates are this thing, but like there's no like how does it work? You gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm like great. That's fun. That's fun for me.
Yeah.
I did have to dock you a point because there was no smut. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just like
I expected that.
look. We know what we're here for.
Yeah.
What was it called? They out-consented each other? Is that what it said?
Yeah.
Yeah. You did get another point in the plus columm for the lesbian moms. I love a good like generational the
heavily implied lesbian moms.
Oh,
Yes.
it's headcanon
Yeah.
for sure, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like
It's a
actual
wink, wink,
canon.
nudge, nudge.
Like,
It
yeah,
was. It was
for
very
sure,
much so.
absolutely. I did have to though dock you another point because they fucking knew they were soulmates. After they found out they were soulmates, they were still like, "But we need to take it slow." I'm like,
Yes.
what the fuck? That is one of my pet peeves.
That
It's like,
is but let me tell you, as a woman who has dated women, because it is so easy to be like, and now we're going to treat each other the way I treat all my other friends and just see how that is and
Yeah.
take 6 months
God,
to
that
figure it
kills
out.
me. That is right. Like when you talk about like, oh, we're not communicating, or like when we both have crushes on each other, but we don't find out for so long because we can't like talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even worse for me is the like you both find out and then don't act on it.
I don't like
Nope.
wasting time.
Yeah,
I don't like
life is short.
Life is
Just
fucking
enjoying
short.
being friends with each other for the first
You
time
can
in a
be
long
friends
time.
while you bone.
You live in a world where soulmates are a confirmed thing, where you know this person is your soulmate, and you're still like, but what if it goes wrong?
You know what? Go bone and then go see a movie. You're
But
fine.
Regina was like, well, Janice is still on the road to forgiving me. I'm still trying to prove myself to her. And
That's true. She did have to
Janice
get
is
over
like,
that.
That's fine.
Janice is like, I'm still not sure if I forgive Regina, and Regina is still trying to prove herself to me, so I'm going to give her some space. It was both of them giving each other space on their friendship journey.
That's fair. And when you put it that way, now I guess I like whatever. It still annoys me.
Fine.
Look,
This is your feedback, not mine.
no, but so
Give me my trash.
for that
cans.
reason, I'm giving you 4 out of 5 trash cans and raccoons.
you.
I was very enjoyable. There was not a lot that was maybe 3.5. I'm sorry to just downgrade you in the moment. I think I'm going to give it 3.5. Just,
Also fair.
Just because, like, it was a little bit on the shorter side. It was about equal balance with stuff I didn't like and did like, and it just really
We're both just happy to be here.
annoys me that there was no smut. I'm kidding.
You're so horny.
I
horny.
did provide a smut fic for.
You did.
I'll be sure to send it to you later so you can
Yeah,
scratch that itch.
I'll go read that, and I may adjust my trash cans.
Okay.
No. For yours, again, another point in the column for the generational. I love a good like the story repeats itself. Time is a flat circle. Like that's very fun for me. I enjoy that. I love a woman that fights back too. Like like the not being just like a damsel in distress victim. Like absolutely, because otherwise then it just feels worse. It's not it's not fun to read if she's just like getting dunked on and like
Yeah.
is sad about it. It's like, oh, this is
Yeah, those are not ones I repeat.
Yeah.
These ones I have repeated because
Sure.
it's fun.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I did have to dock some points for the names because they were just very dumb. I'm sorry, they were a little ridiculous. Just a little bit.
Just
And
Dorian and Ares. I mean, come on.
Wolf.
His nickname on the field. He's practically a wolf.
Okay, but his real name is Ares, and
Yeah.
that doesn't make it better.
Do you want to know his dad's name?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ramses.
Oh fucking god.
Fine.
Yeah. All right.
They're of it's
a
foreign.
theme.
Yeah, it's a theme.
They're foreign.
Uh huh.
All right.
Anyway,
I love a good sexy locker moment. That was great. That was great. Also, a Babe Ruth moment of like, oh yeah, we're gonna fuck. I can tell you're into me. I'm into you. We're gonna fuck. It's gonna be great. I do love that moment. Calling
that's
it.
good.
It's the opposite of the like denying of
Yeah.
like, oh, we know we're both soulmates, but why we can't do it? It's
That happens like two or three times.
You're
and
gonna
it's like,
pretend like you're not into it, but we both know that we are.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry, I had to dock points because of like the bullies being rich kids with good parents. I'm sorry if you're a bully.
It's because she got in the way.
You wanted wrong side of the tracks.
She was technically wrong side of the tracks.
You want the bully to be wrong.
I want the bully to be wrong.
Fair,
I want
fair.
the bully. I like if the bullies like. I need some kind of trauma that goes into why you bully people other than I'm a rich kid who's bored in suburbia. Like,
if all of the series that I mentioned that are bully series, they're all rich kid bullies. They're all rich kid bullies.
I don't like a rich kid. You're rich. What are you bullying people
It's usually
about?
the victim that is wrong side of the tracks in these books, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the case for mine too.
I don't know that I like that, but it's fine.
fair.
I'm still going to give it a 4 out of 5 trash cans. Actually, I have 4.5. I even though it wasn't a reverse harem, that was
never
gonna
said
be.
it was. That
I know.
was you.
I really fully just. I mean,
you were
in my
hoping.
there were so many names.
It's because, again, bully tropes are often paired with reverse harems. It's a very common thing.
Truly, I think part of it is that I got confused about the names, and so assumed that some of the ones were different guys in the Legion in Legacy. Legacy, but it was all just one guy, which I guess was my guy. But
It is hard to say when there are, because it's like, I need to tell you that Thatcher and Wells were there because they are a unit, but they're not like the main people. But you know what I mean? It's like you have to say the names. Like when you're reading it, you're not confused, but saying it out loud is hard.
It's hard.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to keep
that,
it straight.
Like that, I can't dock you the 0.5 for that because it is because you were doing a retelling and I wasn't reading. If I was reading it, I would not have had that confusion. So I'll still give it the 4.5 for the drama and the mystery of it.
So much drama.
A lot of drama, all the
drama.
twists and turns. Like, you know, when you're giving into a guilty pleasure, you want to make it full on guilt. Give me
Messy drama.
Give me the teen OC drama.
Yeah.
Like,
I fully love Eden O'Neill. I'm a huge fan. Please be my friend, Eden O'Neill. Thank you. I've read all your books except one. Cool.
so that's how I feel about all that.
Yeah.
Yay.
I also, real fast, just need to make a quick plea to the audience out there that if any of you were bullied by Emily growing up, please write in and let us know.
Please DM us.
Please.
Okay, I will
Please,
say,
God, make an
guys,
review opening for all of our episodes.
That was actually a real fear I had for a while because
people are
I'm
gonna-
such a
because you
I make
bullied so many people.
no, like I make fun of my friends a lot
They're
and
gonna
like
come out of the woodwork.
I'm really scared, and I did that at my high school reunion. I was like, guys, I'm worried that someone's gonna come up to me and be like, "You were a bitch to me," and I was like, but that was never my intention.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
always thought I was being funny and like. Because
Oh,
I
yeah,
can make fun
I
of
did a little bit
myself.
of that too.
Oh, for sure.
I kind of
Yeah.
assumed everyone could, and so that was never my intention.
feel like-
So that's a real fear I had for a long time.
So much
Me
of
too.
male friendships, I feel like, are predicated on making fun of each other. So, like, I get that, like, for sure. Like, I
Yeah.
roast my friends all the time because that's how we
Exactly,
care about
and
each
that's
other.
that's how I like grew up, and that's how like
too.
my close friends and I are. So it's just like you just never know what's going on with someone else, and like
Yeah.
one comment can fucking
Yeah.
ruin
and you
someone's
don't realize
day.
that when you're younger.
And you don't yeah,
It's
you have
true.
no idea. So
No.
oof. So actually, yeah, if you were bullied by me, please let me know because
Yeah.
I would like to sincerely apologize. Unless you fucking deserved.
Took a turn. That took a turn.
Okay, what are we doing
Right.
next week? School.
So I wrote down a few different things, just because, like, I really just I'm gonna toss them out and we can
Let's
talk,
hear-
we
let's
can
hear it,
talk
my
through
guy.
them.
Let's do it.
Has there been an enemies to lovers episode that is just like that?
No.
No, because it's such a
Focus.
vast. It's usually it's
It's
paired
in
with
so
something.
many
It's
other
vast,
things,
but
yeah.
we both truly love
Love
enemies
enemies
to
to
lovers.
I do too. I really like the give me an intense enemies
Mm-hmm.
lovers if we do it. If we do that one, like really, it's got to start strong and really go through that like journey.
Were there any others?
Two more.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Shared secret. I don't know if that is one, but when like the idea of like we know this like dark secret in yours, like that we don't tell anyone else. I was like, oh, that could be kind of fun. Like
like the two main characters sharing a secret.
Yeah, like the
could be a
like
thing.
a secret brings them together. Like they're not lovers, but then they both have to carry this burden in silence, and so they have to rely on each other. I think that could be a fun one. I don't know.
Yeah, nothing comes to mind, but I know
The enemies to lovers one that I'm thinking of involves shared secret. Okay, go on.
Okay, great.
Got
Great.
what are you most drawn to?
I think I like. I mean, enemies to lovers is a personal favorite of mine.
I think if we do enemies to lovers, I think we have to narrow it down a little.
Yeah.
I think we have to give it a
We could
more.
do enemies to lovers, shared secrets, as a combined thing.
What if we just said shared secrets, and then because yours has that also, it would work for that?
Shared secret with the addition of enemies to lovers,
if possible.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
This is so fun. This was me last week.
Yeah,
when
I
you
do
said
like.
bully.
I think I have
So
evened it
good.
out a little bit.
I just need you to be
This is so
prepared
good.
for me to take you on I'm going to tell you this entire story, and
I'm
it's going to
ready.
be about 45 minutes, and I need everyone to buckle the fuck
Absolutely.
It
up.
might have to be a two-parter.
I'm so excited.
This might have to be a two-parter.
Yes.
We're literally at 155 right
Will
now.
this
Yes.
be the first two-parter?
Should we do two-parters? Two tubes?
I
Two tubes?
let's see how the editing
Yeah.
room hits it.
Yeah. Because I think there's a lot. Not to say we weren't. We
bullshitted a little bit
There's
today.
a lot of bullshit.
But it's
today.
fun shit. It's fun stuff.
And I still need to record a corrections corner
Yes.
for last week.
Say it right now.
So, when I was listening to the last episode, and
Which was the bet.
I said that LiveJournal had been shut down, and then I was like, actually, that might not be true. And I looked it up, and actually, LiveJournal is still in existence, but it was bought by the Russians like 4 or 5 years ago.
What?
And so, and they got rid of anything that did not align with their like
Beliefs? System of government?
Well, just they wiped the site for anything that was not appropriate from a Russian.
The motherland.
Yeah. And so because I remember like a huge amount of people being like, "Hey, LiveJournal's going away. Move your shit. Move your
Got it.
content."
It wasn't that the website
The
left.
website never left. If you look to LiveJournal, you can still
there.
You can still have a blog on LiveJournal, but it is owned by the Russians and it is used for Russian propaganda.
Got it.
All right,
got it.
thank
So
you
there
for
was a
that
big
correction.
purge.
Correction corner. I didn't want any like hardcore fan to
be like, "Fuck you."
She got LiveJournal wrong. This is our history.
No, honestly, I'm glad you corrected yourself because I would have repeated it and sounded like a fool.
Yeah. So still exists, owned by the Russians. So they got rid of all the fucking that was on there.
Bummer.
Yeah, I know.
Damn.
Let's finish this out. Jessica, what are you reading?
What do you read?
I just finished a Kindle Unlimited.
I'm proud of you.
I know. It was called. I have a.
You're
thing.
the other one. Wait.
I know. I'm not supposed to read these. It's called The Romanov Oracle by Molly Tullis.
Ooh.
And it basically it was a very fun, quick read. It was like her first book that she ever published. And it's because she's like, I really like history, and I was like, what if the Romanovs were magical?
Ooh,
And
fun.
yeah, so it's Anastasia, and her parents are afraid of magic, the Tsar and Tsarina, and that is related to their fall eventually.
Yeah.
And it is her coming to terms with her powers and actually being horribly abused by them because they're trying to suppress her powers with the church. And yeah, it was a quick 300-page read, and it was really, really good. And I recommend it if you like Russian history and Anastasia and the Romanovs and all that shit.
Cool.
Yeah. Just the fastest of tangents because you've unlocked so I've never seen Anastasia, the movie that everyone watches. That's
Bummer.
with the bat.
You should.
Oh, you should.
And I kick her, sir.
Yeah,
It has one of the best villain numbers ever.
Oh, 100%.
Sure. I've heard that my whole life, but that is because growing up, my sister had a movie version of Anastasia in which her entire family turns into instruments. They turn into like magical instruments.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if anybody else knows what I'm talking about or have heard of it.
I've never heard
Maybe
of it.
not. I don't know. I just, that was the version of Anastasia I knew. So for the longest time, I was like, oh yeah, I've seen the Anastasia cartoon. Absolutely. It's a musical. Yeah.
They all turn into
They
instruments.
turn into instruments. And people are like,
No.
what?
No, sweetie.
And I was like,
that's so interesting.
oh, it's
Yeah.
not the same thing.
You know,
so that's my fun.
Yeah.
Sophie Lark, who did Ivan,
Yeah.
just came out with a book called Anastasia, and I think it's her version of it. So you
Okay.
should look that up.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Yeah.
What are you reading?
Emily, what are you reading?
I already mentioned I am reading A Shadow in the Ember, which is the somewhat of
Right.
a prequel to From Blood and Ash by
Yep.
Jennifer Armentrout. I'm 75% of the way through.
You're powering through.
I'm gonna finish it. I'm sure it's gonna end, and I'm gonna be like, "Well, I gotta read the next one." But like,
You're not feeling it
it's
now.
She's pissing me off. Not the author. Well, maybe she wrote it. So
She
I guess
wrote it.
She-
Yeah,
fair
she
enough.
wrote
it's
it.
halfway her
Yeah, the
fault.
main character is really pissing me off in this book. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. I might get into a fight and not finish it, like I do with a lot of things,
Cool.
Nice.
mostly TV shows.
Well, what are you reading?
I finished Oathbringer
Yay!
last night.
Oh my god! Yay!
It was my Valentine's night. I got really high. I made myself a charcuterie board. I had
Yes.
some wine.
Ugh.
I watched the anime Kotaro Lives Alone, which
Okay.
if you like slice of life anime, it is very cute. It's only about 10 episodes.
Don't know what that
Lovely.
is. Love it.
Very sweet. And then I got done with it and was like, time to read. And I realized that I only had like 200 pages left in the book and was like, well, I'm so close to the end.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I've done that so many times. Yeah.
And I stayed up till 2 reading and finishing this book. and it was great. It was a
nice.
lovely Valentine's. And it was
Aw.
a really good book. And I'm about to drop some spoilers, so if you're gonna read the Stormlight Archives, get ready, because I'm gonna say some stuff. There's a love triangle that kind of pops up a little bit through it, and they finally got rid of it, which I was very happy about, because it was not a satisfying love triangle.
Okay.
It was just kind of like, this is in here to add more stuff.
Yeah.
And
Filler.
It was one of those things where it was like, okay, clearly, like, this is
yeah.
the right guy for you. And then the whole time it just kept being like, I know he's the right guy for me, but this other guy is hot. I'm like,
Yeah, I get
All right.
that. I get that.
and then finally the character was like, you know what? I should be healthy. And I was like, good for you. Good for you, girl. Absolutely.
Only took 3 books.
Only took
Here we are.
only took 3. And
for
to
you.
be fair, the love triangle has not been going through all 3 books. It
Okay.
didn't emerge immediately.
Got it.
But I was very happy to see the end of that.
Congratulations.
And the author does such a good job with the pacing of this book. So they always end on like the culmination of like all the threads you've been following and like
That's
a big
really
battle and
nice.
like it's very satisfying. So I had a great time with it. It was a lovely night.
Is that the last one in the series?
No, there is at least one more. I don't know if like the next one is like the end of the series or if
Okay.
just that's what's out right now.
Okay.
Because
Cool.
I have not looked up spoilers. I've been
So
trying
you're
to
Good luck.
You're moving on to the 4th.
I'm moving on to the 4th one, which is just as thick and girthy as the first
Yeah.
3. So
Those are words we like to hear.
we will look.
When it comes to books.
Thick and
Hey,
girthy.
we'll be
girthy.
back in another 2 weeks, I'm sure, to record the next episode, and we'll see if I've maintained
many
my
pages
pace
Yeah.
of being able to finish these books in between episodes.
I would love
Yeah.
that if the whole season is just you reading these
Just
books.
me reading
That's
these
gonna
books.
make me happy.
Yeah.
I would love
I
that.
fully support that.
I mean, here's the thing. Once I finish this next book, the 4th book in the Stormlight Archive, there isn't more in the Stormlight Archive. So either the story will be done, or I'll have to wait for him to release the next book, which means I'll be jumping to his other series, which I mean, I can't say, I don't want to say anything about it because I had a coworker be like, interesting, those 2 series are by the same author. Isn't that fun? And so I think maybe there's a
same universe
I think there might
type
be a little bit
thing.
of a same universe
That's
thing going
fun.
on. I don't know because I haven't
Yeah.
read the
Yeah.
other series at all, but
I
we'll
love
see.
that,
I'm
though.
excited.
Yeah.
It's been a very good read.
I'm enjoying getting
too.
getting the updates from you on these.
So
Sweet.
yeah, that's my update. That's what I'm reading.
Nice.
We done
Well,
it.
right now I'm
We
not
did
reading
it.
anything. I'm between books.
Hey,
Yeah.
take a break, buddy.
Yeah, rest your eyes.
We'll see.
And hey, you take a break too, reader, because we'll be back.
We'll be back with an adventure, you
Yes.
guys.
Segue.
Shared secret
secrets
with the
with a
parentheses.
sprinkling of
enemies to lovers.
I mean, look, there should always be a sprinkling of enemies
Yes.
to
I
lovers.
agree.
Correct.
And everything.
in your life.
In your life. Find
Yes.
an enemy.
Find your enemy,
Between
love them.
now and next episode, I need you to go out, find someone that you hate, and start becoming lovers.
I'm trying, Will.
All right, listener. Bye.
Bye.
Femmes Reading Filth is hosted, produced, and edited by Emily Barusian and Jessica Mall. Intro music by Tom Lehrer. Outro music by David Reddick. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Femmes Reading Filth. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.